Welcome to the Warbird Mistress. This is London Calling. Today is Friday, 12 July 1940. Good evening. Today is mainly cloudy with heavy fog over the channel in the dawn hours. Sporadic thunderstorms are expected throughout England today. In the overnight hours, South Wales and Bristol saw some activity from enemy reconnaissance, but no action was reported. On the continent today, Pierre Laval has raised his head once more. The socialist barrister who begged for peace with the Kaiser in the last war has now once more sold out his nation. He has been named Vice President of the Council of Ministers by Marshal Pétain in the Quisling government meeting at Vichy. Meanwhile, Germany continues to strike at us from their bases in occupied France. This morning, convoy booty was once again the target of KG-53's Heinkel 111s and two KG-2's DO-17s. At 0800, observers spotted a large enemy formation off the Suffolk coast. A half-dozen Hurricanes of 1-7 Squadron, based at RAF Martlesham Heath, were out for their dawn patrol and directed to intercept the bombers. They were assisted by another 17 Hurricanes scrambled or diverted to the fight. These fighters were from numbers 85, 242, and 151 Squadrons, and were joined by a half-dozen Bolton-Paul Defiants. The turret-armed interceptor fighters of number 264 Squadron, also of RAF Martlesham Heath, have been on the night fighter duty tour for some months, but are now operating both day and night in defense of the homelands. With a total of 23 Hurricanes and 6 Defiants against them, the Germans suffered 5 bombers lost, whilst only 2 of the Hurricanes were downed by the Boche attackers before abandoning their attack and returning to their bases on occupied Europe. This afternoon, Goering struck at Scotland for the first time as KG-26's HE-111s took off from their base at Trondheim, Norway, on a raid against the Aberdeen shipyards. Arriving overhead at 12:45, they damaged some assets, but their bombs also fell on the civilian districts of the Granite City, killing 29 and injuring 100. 3 Spits were scrambled from number 603 Squadron out of Dice in an attempt to down Jerry on his return to Norway, and 1 bomber fell to their guns. Unfortunately, that Heinkel crashed into the Aberdeen ice rink, a recent addition to the city. Today's total losses for the Hun were 28 pilots and aircrew and 9 machines, whilst Britain lost 4 airmen and 5 aircraft. Sgt Sidney Ireland was killed while flying Spitfire P9502 with number 610 Squadron. Seen here flying in that mount, his aircraft was destroyed during a dive when dogfight practice was undergoing with Sergeant H. Chandler. Ireland lost control during a half-roll into a steep dive and was killed when his Spitfire crashed at Pitchfont Farm, south of Biggin Hill. 85 Squadron Sgt Leonard Jowitt of Failsworth, Manchester is missing and believed drowned. He had joined the RAF in 1931 and served in India, seeing service on the Northwest Frontier Air Policing actions with 20 Army Cooperation Squadron. A pilot since 1937, he had 1 victory under his belt from the Battle of France, a single Heinkel 111. He was flying Hurricane P2557 in number 85's Blue Section and was shot down between 0835 and 0840 this morning after taking heavy fire from an HE-111 of 2 KG-53 off Felixstowe. The after-action report states no parachute was spotted, and he has been presumed dead. Flying Officer James Henry Leslie Allen of New Zealand is missing and presumed drowned as well. Commissioned in the RAF in 1936 and formerly of both the Royal Navy and the Merchant Fleet, he served in France with 87 Squadron and had been wounded in a fight with the Henschel 126 Army Cooperation aircraft. Today his aircraft took heavy return fire when passing abreast of the Dornier 17s east of Orford-Ness. He was last seen gliding towards the sea, his engine dead and his propeller turning in the wind. He is the first New Zealander to die in this Battle of Britain. Number 501 Squadron's Pilot Officer Douglas Alexander Hewitt's Hurricane, P3084, was lost at sea. Hewitt is as well pronounced missing and believed drowned. A Toronto native born to parents from St. John, New Brunswick, he joined the Royal Air Force Volunteer Reserve in January 1938 and was called up when the war broke. Commissioned in December 1939 and serving in the French campaign with 501 Squadron, he shared a victory in his weeks on the continent. Today, he and another Hurricane were taking on a low-flying Dornier and had taken light return fire, but they kept losing the bomber in the thick fog. It was believed by his mates that he flew into the sea either after taking fire, after having been caught in the bomber's slipstream, or a combination of the two possibilities. He is the first Canadian lost in the Battle of Britain. Thank you for tuning in to the Warbird Mistress. This is London Calling, a day-by-day detail of the Battle of Britain, and I hope that you subscribe, watch the playlist for new editions, and do check out other offerings on this channel. Subscriptions through Patreon and YouTube are more than welcome to keep this channel going. Thank you and take care.